Good morning, Justin. How you doing? You well?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, so I'm not too bad. I'm fine, man. How are you?
I'm blessed. Always,
Yeah,
in always. Can't
good.
complain, man. Can't complain. We're
I
blessed. We've
like
got
to hear.
life. Listen, it's a big week. Big
Mm,
week for the British Urban Film Festival. For those who aren't aware, the guy on our screen or who you're listening to is the festival director of the British Urban Film Festival, Buff, as I like to call it. So you're the Buff director. You must use
apparently
that one all
so.
the time, right?
Apparently so. To be fair, I've been called worse, so that's cool, man. I'll take that.
Listen, it's a big week, Justin. I'm going to let you tell everybody why though. Talk to me.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a big week because what we're doing on this Friday, the 5th of August, is our media day, which essentially what that means is we kind of give a preview of the festival that's coming up at the end of the year, from the 26th of November to the 2nd of December. And we essentially choose some international films to show that we've watched in the submissions that myself and all the jurors have agreed that are like top notch. And yeah, so then we invite people who've submitted to the festival. We invite them down to have a watch of these international films. And yeah, so we just kind of like make a really nice night of it and really just kind of show off the talent that is going to be in this year's festival. And especially like we kind of highlight the international films, mostly because because we're BAFTA accredited as well. We want to make sure everybody gets a good chance into qualifying for that. So we don't show them beforehand, if that makes sense. So they can have a chance to put it in themselves, etc., etc. So yeah, so it's gonna be huge. We've got 3 films. Wetting Man to Go Do, sorry. Then we also have The Boy Who Couldn't Feel Pain, which is a short from America done by a German director, I believe. And then we have our feature film called Collision Course, which is a Nigerian feature film, which is brilliant. And I just really can't wait for everyone to see it.
You know, Wetting Man Go Do. That's a musical, right?
It is.
Is that a little bit different for you guys, or is that what's the deal with that?
So actually, we've always taken music video submissions, and it's funny you say that because I think because we don't essentially say it, or people don't think or feel like a music video is still a short film or is still kind of seen as creative content. Yeah, we do take them, and here and there we've actually had quite a few music videos. But this music video really was it was very catchy, it's fresh. We very much liked the almost the story of it as well. So we were like, actually, you know what, this would be great just to kind of kick off media day.
That's a great way to, I guess, tip your hat to people who are in that creative space, who are doing, they're producing more than a music video, and delivering some real pieces of work. Talk about the curation process. So how do you guys decide? You mentioned it's what the jurors and who are those people decide. So just explain that process for those who aren't aware.
So essentially what happens is we get all the submissions in, and during that period, I'm basically watching them one by one. So I've actually watched all of the submissions that have come into the
How many, Justin?
Boy, we're talking. It was over 300, almost hitting 350 or something.
That's a lot of hours.
So yeah. So it's a lot of hours, but it's one of those things like I I love watching film anyway. My background is I'm an actor, presenter, etc. So this is like bread and butter to me anyway. So it's quite nice to just watch these different talents creating all these different films, shorts, features, etc. And then what happens is we have some jurors that we then kind of like split the films out and give them all to them. And then once they've decided, oh yeah, they like this film, etc., then we kind of swap it all around. So we kind of get a different perspective as well, because Joel, what you may like and what I might like could be 2 different things, but there might be something that we find in the middle that we kind of go, yeah, actually, you know what, you're right. So it's kind of good to kind of oversee that as well. As I said, like there's I've watched all of them. So what's quite interesting is letting them speak about it and letting them enjoy, how that affected them, how they felt, what they liked and stuff, and then actually thinking if that's right for the festival or if it's not, if that makes sense.
How did you whittle it down? And 300 is and how many can we expect to see in the festival at the
So
end?
yeah, so you're right. It is quite difficult, and it's funny because I had this conversation with Emmanuel about last year's festival, and I was like quite adamant of like making sure there's less films and they're all quality. And what I found this year is that the quality is improved. So it's actually harder to make less films, to put less films into the festival, sorry. So we can expect, I believe, 93 films into
Wow.
the
Okay.
festival,
Wow.
which we kind of been helped by the fact that at Richmond's we're going to have 3 screens on throughout the festival. So we will be able to kind of schedule it well, basically. So there'll be a lot of time to do the films as well as Q&As, etc., and any other things that we're looking to do, like possible workshops, etc. So yeah, so in that sense, it was really difficult, but actually I feel the quality this year was incredible. Like, and I always say this, Joel, like I feel it's almost criminal how good some of these films are, because I just feel like a lot of the filmmakers should deserve to be elevated. And it's just, sometimes it's just like, man, they're like, I don't know, light years ahead, you know? And it's just like, why aren't they somewhere where they need to be? But then again, that's what we're about, isn't it? That's what we're about, trying to help and have a platform for that process as well.
Yeah, you mentioned being, in bed with BAFTA, as it were, and I know that's a genuinely new relationship given all what's gone on in the last few years. How's that helped, and how's that enabled you to elevate some of the talents that you're exposed to now, and maybe have a different direction to point them in?
Well, I think what's good is that, you know, I think when you come into our festival, and then, you know, if you're a UK film, etc., and then you can be pushed towards BAFTA, what's good is that it's just not a partnership where it just seems like, oh, you know, like just to kind of put like a gold stamp on it at all, yeah, or a tick, because it works, you know. Like we had who was it, like, oh, I can't even mention that actually. Well, can I? Because they've been submitted this year. Oh, okay, cool. But let's just say, for example, there are films that have gone through BAFTA that have been nominated through the BAFTA short films, etc. So you can see that it works. And I think also what that does as well, it gives even more essentially more notoriety that what we're doing is the right thing as well. Because if we're telling you that this great film is great, and then BAFTA then going saying, yes, you're right, it's great. Now you have 2 powers basically telling you that this is a brilliant film, everyone should watch it, and basically follow the process of everybody involved. So I think I think in that aspect is very important, especially when kind of like getting attached into the mainstream as well, so people can kind of really see that we're doing good works.
Without, I guess, divulging too much about what to expect in terms of the 93 films that are selected, Emmanuel and Emmanuel is, for those who are watching, listening, the founder of the British Urban Film Festival and was director up until Justin took the reins. We spoke for our 40th anniversary issue in of the Voice newspaper, which is out now for those who want to go and grab it physically or digitally if you're not in the country. We spoke about the lack of, or he spoke about the lack of female directors who are in the space, who are being recognized for the work that they're doing. I'm assuming that you've got greater representation within those 93, or have you not? Depends on what was submitted. Talk to me about that whole phenomenon, really.
Yeah, I actually think we do, but then, you know, it's one of those things that even when you do, it's never enough, if that makes sense. But yeah, there are quite a few female directors that I came across, and some that I was researching as well, and just going, wow, like this is incredible stuff like that's been made and been done. And I think, you know, it kind of points to what Buff is all about as well, because, you know, before diversity was trending, we were always about diversity, you know, like it's just part of what we do. And that's not necessarily Buff, that's just through most lines of what I've been through as well, you know. Definitely like growing up in this country as well, you just kind of like, you feel like everyone should get a chance, etc. So with regards to female directors and stuff, yeah, there are quite a few, and actually there's quite a few international ones as well. And I realized this year we actually got quite a big influx of international films, which is very interesting, because that means that that people overseas are kind of looking of where they can put their films, and they're actually looking towards Buff to put their films towards, which I think is very encouraging as well. Because I think, you know, again, it's one of those things, it works hand in hand with the UK films that are submitted, and internationals seeing where they're going and what's happened afterwards, then they can kind of be encouraged to submit too. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it is definitely like a topic that maybe needs a bit more divulging in another time, just to do with like female directors. But yeah, they are out there, and you know, I've tried to kind of make a conscious effort as well in this time that I've been doing submissions, to go out to different short film events and stuff like that as well. And actually in those events and in those spaces, I've been seeing a lot of very talented female directors who are either very much well established, or they're actually quite a few up and coming ones as well. So that's quite encouraging, because now for me, that's all about just explaining, telling them exactly what Buff's about, you know, and just encouraging them to kind of submit to us and work with us, and us doing vice versa.
You're just over a year into the role as director.
Yeah.
How are you enjoying it? And just how did it come about? Because like you said, you're a bona fide film buff. You've been around the industry for a long time in various different guises. So just talk about, you know, how you gravitated to this role. Did Emmanuel approach you? Is it something you had an eye on, natural progression? And what do you hope to achieve in the role as well?
I mean, did I have an eye on it? No, is the simple answer. I thought Emmanuel would be doing this forever, if I'm honest. I've been working in and within and out Buff for quite a few years now. Like, even from being one of the actors and one of the script developments for the script winners, to being directing one of the scripts as well, to then like helping with the submissions, like making sure they're going into the right formats, etc., and taking them to the different platforms. So I've kind of like been in and around it anyway. And I just remember Emmanuel, literally, as he does, he was talking to me, and like literally at the end of the sentence, and goes, yeah, because then, you know, when you're going to be festival director, it's going to be really, and I was like, what? Festival what? He goes, yeah, because obviously, because you're going to be taking over the reins for me. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? So then actually previously to that, I remember him asking me a question. He asked me something about film buff, what do I see, what do I think about it and stuff, honest opinions, all that kind of stuff. And then he must have ended that. I spoke for about 2 minutes. He ended that with, I hope you realize that was your first audition. I was like, first audition for what? Like, Emmanuel's got his very much own ways, and he's very strategic in how he does things. So in his head, I think one day he was like, Justin's gonna be festival director, and I had no idea. So, you know, so yeah, so he's obviously seen something in me that I'm still working towards to achieve. And yeah, so it was quite nice, actually. It felt organic in ways, but then I suppose Emmanuel had his idea of why he wanted me to do it. And I think because, you know, like with Emmanuel, I'm very open. I don't, you know, and with Claire as well, I'm very open. I don't really kind of like, you know, smile and nod my head kind of thing about things. I'll just tell you exactly how I feel about something. And I think maybe that aspect, I think he's very much appreciated, because he can be very much like that too. So, and that's what, like, I think for me, he's very much an inspiration in that way as well. And just seeing how he's managed to navigate his way around this industry and holding up this festival for 17 years. Like, every time I think about it, that's actually insane, like 17 years. So yeah, so getting to that process was, as you can see, it was just, it just kind of, I think in Emmanuel's head was what he wanted to do. And now being a year in it, I just don't know how he's done it for 17 years, if I'm honest, because it's, you know, it is a lot of work, as well as I think there's so much to learn, so much to understand very quickly. And that aspect is quite difficult, but it's also very enjoyable because, you know, I was lucky enough to join at the back end of the festival, the end part of last year's festival. So most of the process had already been done. So now to kind of be in it and then talking to filmmakers and seeing what their response is to it as well, that you're just like, okay, cool. All right, let's keep going. Like, and already by the time, like, for example, from when we're doing the media day on Friday, on the 6th of August is when the submissions for the new year, for next year happen, right? So already there is no kind of endpoint or a rest period. It's just, it keeps revolving around kind of thing. So yeah, so it's a very interesting, difficult process, but I'm quite happy that Emmanuel and Claire are very much open to me asking them questions or anything I need, because they've done it before. They've done it for years, you know. So it's great that they have opened doors for me to be able to do that as well.
In terms of where you want to take it and how you want to kind of leave your stamp on the role, what does that future look like?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when I think about film festivals, I mean, I kind of do look at essentially, for me personally, I look overseas, I see what they're doing with their film festivals, etc. I'm like, okay, cool, that's interesting. Now, obviously, it's not comparisons, but it's nice to know where film festivals can go. You know, it's nice to know that, you know, they can be televised on mainstream channels, etc. It's nice to know, like, there can be like massive amounts of, you know, fundings and stuff that helps behind it as well, and helps the whole creative process, and still managing to keep to their original statements, which is what I think is very important as well. So, I mean, for me, one of my main aims is I would love to see the British Urban Film Festival televised every year, like how we see the Mobos every year, you know, like something like that. I think it would be brilliant, and literally making a lot of our UK talent feel like they have a base and a home to come to when it comes to the idea of film and TV. I would absolutely love that. I would love to, you know, like have young successful actors essentially like endorsing in Buff as well. And, you know, like, because there are a lot of actors, directors, etc., who've kind of gone through the Buff channel as well. So it'd be amazing and wonderful just to kind of see them all back in one space again and be like, wow, this is incredible. Like, we're really building something here.
So we're it's the 5th of August, right, at the Rich Mix this week.
Indeed, yeah.
So what's 3 films? Which one of these? Collision Course. I'm imagining Collision Course is your favorite of the 3 that's going to be.
It's hard to kind of compare them all together because they're different types of films. For example, you know, we've got a music video, which is 5 minutes, the short film, which is 20, and then we have a Nigerian feature film. So I don't really compare them like that. However, I think in their groups, I think they're absolutely brilliant. Like, they're outstanding films. And do you know what? It's really such a joy to kind of like have certain films that I've watched, and I know that not many people have. So you kind of want to be like, come everybody, watch this, is brilliant. Like, you know, and that's how I feel about these three films. So I think people are going to be like really quite pleased and impressed as well by the media day and what it has to offer.
Is it just the media day? Because I know people are going to be watching this thinking, oh, I'd like to attend this.
Yeah, so for now it's a media day, yeah, and it's open to the public as well. The tickets are just £7 on the Rich Mix website. Yeah, so it's open to all. Obviously we prioritize the filmmakers, so it is very much a filmmakers festival. So the filmmakers were kind of invited before we kind of put the tickets out, etc. But yeah, it's open to the public or lovers of film if they just want to have a look, see what Buff's going to be doing this year for the festival. We will also be honoring Obi Omolonyo. Obi Omolonyo. We'll be honoring him as well. He's gonna be mad that I said his name wrong, by the way. We'll be giving him a Buff honorary just for his achievements as well in film. He's been, yeah, absolutely incredible. And yeah, so we'll also be playing a trailer of one of his films, Blackmail, that was in the festival last year too.
I know it's been held at Channel 4, BT Tower, now at Rich Mix.
Mm-hmm.
In your mind's eye, if you had an ideal spot that you'd love to host this festival, where would it be? And I'm assuming it's across multiple venues. So what would they be?
Oh, that's a good question. So you know what? Because I said Mobos, I like the idea of O2. You know, like actually literally having a live massive show, film and TV at O2. I mean, why not? Like, why not? Seriously, why not? I think that would be amazing. Other venues. I have to think about that one, you know. O2 is the first one that came to mind though. And
well, it's the number one entertainment venue in the world, so it makes sense.
Well, there you go. That'll be it then.
There you go. That makes sense. Listen, Justin, I really kind of want to dig down into your journey next time that we get into, you know, have a conversation. I know this one specifically looking at what's going on with the festival this week, and I really want people to kind of leave with that in their mind. And if you are in London or, you know, are on holiday and find yourself with a couple of nights off this week, maybe you might want to go down and check these guys out. If you're an aspiring film kind of maker, really, there should be no other place that you should be this week. It's an opportunity to network and being around some influential people. I'm looking forward to it. I can't attend. I'm going to be at the Commonwealth Games this week. But in terms of the festival beyond that, you know, is there any last words you want to kind of share with us to encourage people to get down and support the cause, view the films?
Yeah, I think this is I think it's a very important day to just letting people know what the festival will hold towards the end of the year. And as I said before, there's been some incredible submissions, and it's an overwhelming amount of talent. So much so, which is why you see the high amount of number of films that are actually in the festival, where initially my idea was to kind of have this down to about 40 films max, but it was impossible, literally impossible to do. So yeah, so I just feel like people should come and have a watch. If you never heard about Buff before, then Friday the 5th of August is a great day to have your first introduction. And if you have and you know what it's about, then you know where it's going. So I feel like you should definitely come down and have a watch. I can name you a couple films that, for example, that
please.
Yeah, because I won't have the press release ready until later on this afternoon. But I'd say, so one to look out for would be Streets Paved with Gold. Streets Paved with Gold is, yeah, definitely a very interesting film. And as well as, let me think. Yeah, Street Paved with Gold is with Victor Richards, by the way. And also, I would say, okay, let's say Emmanuel's documentary, absolutely marvelous, absolutely marvelous, which is a really, really, really great, interesting look, which I think actually Voice did an article, didn't they?
Yeah, well, we spoke about Absolutely Marvelous, and the interview is going to be coming out in the next week or so. But I'm obviously totally au fait with that in terms of the story and Marvel and just everything involved in that. It's a fantastic documentary. So I'd implore people to go and watch that as well, because I definitely want to see it. I haven't seen it, so
okay, yeah. So yeah, I would say that those are the only two I can really mention.
Off the top, right?
Anymore, like
no, thanks for sharing. I appreciate sharing. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Listen, best of luck with it all.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Really, because you know
sorry,
what
Joel,
you guys.
I did actually forget to mention that the official selections will all be shown on the day, right?
Oh, right.
So before the screenings, the official selections will be shown on the day as well. That's very important, just to let everyone know that the selections coming into this year's festival will be shown on that day to people who are there.
So what time? Come on, Justin. What time does it start? What time should people be there? Come in, get your drink down here, and get in your seat ready to observe some films. Talk to me.
Okay, so I'll be there from earlier, but don't come earlier. Come at 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the screening, 8 o'clock so you can mingle, have some drinks, have a chat with all of us, etc. Then 8:30 the screening starts, and then I will be doing the intro into the films, etc. And yeah, then our show will basically start from then.
All right. Good luck with it all. All right, really appreciate the time, sir.
Thank you, Joel. Appreciate it, man.